published 1608 EDT, the 11th of October 2017, updated 2018 EDT, the 11th of October 2017. Melania Trump left her tie undone as she sported a classic pinstripe suit to welcome Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie Gregoire Trudeau to the White House on Wednesday. The 47-year-old First Lady joined her husband, President Donald Trump, as they warmly greeted the Trudeaus ahead of the two leaders' discussions about the North American Free Trade Agreement, which Trump believes is deeply unfair to the United States. Melania, who has been opting to wear more suits as of late, took a cue from the film Annie Hall and accessorized her sharp pantsuit with a black tie, but she put her own spin on the look by leaving it loose around her neck. Melania Trump sported a pinstripe suit, while Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, opted for a ladylike dress for their meeting at the White House. The two women exchanged smiles as they posed for pictures with their husbands at the White House on Wednesday. President Trump gave the cameras a thumbs up before he and Trudeau met in the Oval Office to discuss trade agreements. Melania topped off her menswear-inspired look with a black tie, which she left loose around her neck underneath her matching gray suit. Melania donned a crisp white button-down shirt, and her menswear-inspired pants almost completely covered her shoes. Although she was sporting a more androgynous look, she opted to style her golden brown hair in loose waves around her shoulders. As she tried out a new look, her husband stuck to his standard navy suit and red tie, which he had tied tightly around his neck. Meanwhile, Sophie, 42, chose a more ladylike look for the meeting, wearing a navy and white Aline dress with a bow tied around her neck. Like Melania, she wore her highlighted hair in loose waves, but she chose to pull hers half up, off of her face. Melania shared a warm hug with Trudeau before they posed for pictures together after their photo op. Trump escorted Melania inside the White House while Trudeau reached for his wife. Melania and Sophie were photographed chatting as they made their way to the Oval Office. While Melania and Sophie chatted, Trudeau looked off into the distance during his conversation with Trump. Melania and Sophie sat on couches opposite of each other during the meeting. They watched supportively as their husbands shook hands in front of the reporters. Sophie carried an equally feminine navy and pink box handbag and topped off her look with toe-cap heels. Trudeau looked dapper in a bluish-gray suit, a pale blue button-down shirt, and a gray tie, sporting somewhat of a monochromatic look. Wednesday's meeting marks Trudeau's second time at the White House since Trump took office in January, while Melania just returned from Trudeau's Canada last week. The First Lady led the United States delegation to the Invictus Games, which were held in Toronto this year. Melania was on hand this afternoon to greet the Prime Minister and his wife, and she was seen giving Sophie a toe-cheek kiss through the window of the Oval Office as their meeting began. The First Lady flashed her massive engagement ring while sitting with her hands resting on top of each other during the meeting. While they were sitting down, Melania's sky-high black pumps were on display. Melania was surrounded by reporters as she sat on the couch next to her husband's chair. Sophie and Melania watched Trump as he animatedly spoke in the Oval Office. Melania gave Sophie a kiss. Prime Minister left the White House. President Trump gave another thumbs off as he watched the Trudeaus leave after the meeting. The President and First Lady made their way to Marine One for a short trip to Joint Base Andrews. On their way to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Ivanka Trump was all smiles as she sat next to Trudeau and his wife during the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit and Gala in Washington, D.C. Trudeau sat between his wife, Sophie, and Trump as they enjoyed their dinner together on Tuesday evening as part of the three-day Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit and a media avail. Moments later, President Trump said it's possible that talks between the U.S. and Canada will not result in a new trade deal. "I think Justin understands this. If we can't make a deal, it will be terminated, and it will be fine," he said. Trump mused that they have a chance to do something very creative with trade in the process. "It's time after all of these years, and we'll see what happens," he said of NAFTA negotiations. "But I've been opposed to NAFTA for a long time," Trump added. After their meeting, the President and First Lady made their way to Marine One for a quick flight to Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, where they boarded Air Force One and headed to Pennsylvania. Trump is heading to Harrisburg on Wednesday afternoon to pitch his tax plan. The Trudeaus made an appearance last night at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit Gala in Washington, D.C., where they were seated at dinner next to the president's eldest daughter, Ivanka, who's also a senior advisor to her father. Trudeau sat between Sophie and Ivanka as they enjoyed their dinner together on Tuesday evening as part of the three-day Fortune Summit, and Ivanka was all smiles while sitting next to him. The Prime Minister was the keynote speaker for the gala, and that evening he explained why he is hoping to get President Trump to include progressive ideas like protections for women, the environment, and labor in a new NAFTA agreement.